A realistic scene of the Kremlin in Moscow, enveloped in the harshness of a brutal winter. The snow-covered red square stretches out, glistening under the pale, distant sunlight, with a surreal, almost ghostly glow. The golden domes of St. Basil's Cathedral shine softly, their intricate details standing out in the misty air. The Kremlin walls, ancient and impenetrable, loom high above the square, thick with history and mystery. Snowflakes drift down lazily, caught in the cold breeze, while the distant sound of marching guards can be faintly heard as they patrol in front of the iconic fortress. The atmosphere is eerily quiet, save for the crunch of boots on the frozen ground. It feels as though time has frozen, and the world outside this fortress is oblivious to the weight of the moment within. Inside Vladimir Putin's private office, the air is thick with the smell of aged leather-bound books and the faint odor of burning candle wax. The room, meticulously arranged and imposing in its design, is lined with dark wood furniture and shelves overflowing with classified documents. The only light comes from a solitary desk lamp illuminating Putin's stern face as he sits in an oversized chair, the weight of the world on his shoulders. His sharp blue eyes scan pages of intelligence reports, his concentration unbroken as he analyzes every detail. Outside the window, the gray sky hangs heavy over Moscow, yet inside, everything is under control, calm, orderly, and yet, there's an underlying tension, as if the very walls of the Kremlin are keeping secrets of their own. The clock ticks in the background, counting down to an unseen moment. A close-up scene on Vladimir Putin's cluttered desk, where an unassuming, simple envelope lies quietly. It's aged, its edges slightly curled, with no official insignia or government seals, only his name written in elegant Cyrillic script, the ink pristine but somehow faded by time. The paper feels ancient yet remains untouched by the years that have passed. The weight of the letter seems disproportionate to its simplicity, as if it holds a secret far more significant than its outward appearance suggests. Surrounding the letter are piles of official documents, reports, and maps, creating a contrast between the mystery of the unknown letter and the cold, methodical precision of the Russian state apparatus. The room feels frozen in time, as if the letter itself has been waiting for the right moment to appear, sending a silent yet ominous message to its recipient. Vladimir Putin sits behind his desk, his expression impassive as he holds the mysterious letter in his hands. He slices open the envelope with precise, practiced movements, his eyes narrowing as he carefully extracts the contents. The paper, fragile yet firm, seems to whisper secrets as he unfolds it, revealing a message written in meticulous handwriting. The office, dark and suffused with a quiet intensity, mirrors his focus. He holds the letter up to the light, scanning the words that fill him with a sense of intrigue, though he maintains a stoic exterior. Outside, the wind howls, pressing against the windows as if nature itself is urging him to understand the message within. His fingers grip the paper tighter, the letter now a heavy burden, as the realization dawns that this letter may not be an ordinary communication, it feels personal, something that's not meant for anyone but him. A detailed close-up of Putin's face as he reads the cryptic message, his sharp blue eyes scanning each line with a growing sense of confusion and intrigue. His expression is stone-faced at first, but as he continues reading, a flicker of something unfamiliar crosses his features. Could it be disbelief, or a subtle shift of fear? His fingers tighten around the letter, each word weighing heavily on his mind. The room around him seems to close in as the letter's contents slowly sink in. The cold, sterile environment of his office contrasts with the storm of thoughts brewing in his mind. The cryptic warning and personal tone of the letter unsettle him, breaking through the otherwise cold, calculating demeanor he spent years perfecting. His mind races, processing the words, the implications, and the eerie calm with which they are written. There's a momentary hesitation in his gaze, a moment where doubt creeps into the unshakable facade he has built over the years. Putin leans back in his chair, the letter held tightly in his hands, as if trying to make sense of the cryptic warning written on the page. The room around him is bathed in the faint glow of the desk lamp, casting long shadows over the piles of documents that cover his desk. The words on the paper echo in his mind, "There will be a sign." He stares into the distance, the Moscow skyline barely visible through the frost-covered window. His mind whirls with possibilities. What sign? What could it mean? He's been trained to control situations, to manipulate outcomes, to predict every move, but this? This was something different. For the first time in years, he feels a spark of uncertainty deep within him, a sense of powerlessness that he rarely allows himself to experience. The weight of the letter presses down on him, and the quiet hum of the office becomes deafening as he grapples with the implications of the words. The room, usually a place of absolute control, now feels oppressive, filled with questions he cannot answer. At the bottom of the letter, there's an empty space where a signature should be, and the lack of closure is almost more disturbing than the words themselves. The camera focuses on the blank space, emphasizing the eerie finality of it. The absence of a name, a sender, a sign of who might have written these words, leaves a haunting void. Putin's hand hovers over the letter for a moment, as if contemplating whether to read it again, but he quickly folds it with careful precision, placing it back into the envelope. His face is unreadable as he sets it aside, but the tension in the air is palpable. The room feels colder now, darker, as if the empty space on the page has somehow created an even greater mystery. Outside the window, the wind picks up, shaking the glass, but inside, the silence is oppressive. What kind of message could this be? Who could have sent it, and why? The questions multiply, and there is no answer. Vladimir Putin stands alone near a large window, staring out at the gray Moscow skyline. The city seems distant, shrouded in a fog of uncertainty. His sharp blue eyes, once filled with unshakable confidence, now reflect a rare flicker of doubt. The Kremlin looms behind him, its walls cold and unyielding, and yet he feels the weight of the decision ahead. The letter and its cryptic message weigh heavily on his mind, overshadowing everything he thought he knew about control. He stands still, lost in thought, as the snow continues to fall outside, the silence of the moment pressing down on him. The room is dark behind him, save for the faint light of the desk lamp. The stillness is almost unbearable, as if time itself is holding its breath, waiting for him to make a choice. A choice between the known path and something unknown, something that could change everything. The air feels thick with the anticipation of what's to come.